Well everybody, it made it home. Barely. So, about a week ago I bought this well-seasoned 528 for £2,000. It came with a few personality traits. First of all, it failed the MOT due to cracked tyres. Then there was the dash, which was lit up like a Christmas tree. There was a slight misfire, which is always a good sign. The battery looked like it was on its last signs of life. And then of course, there was the lacquer peel and rust. Classic E39 stuff. We're going to be tackling all that today and almost certainly finding even more. But let's start with some good news for a change. I managed to pick up some second-hand wheels and tyres. These are 17s, they look miles better than before, and these matching Continentals all round are road legal. Just the tyres for those 15 inches, because they're quite an odd size, we're going to end up costing about £500 fitted. So really, these for £670 including delivery, I think were a little bit of a no-brainer. So as soon as they arrived at David's house, I drove over there, we fitted them to the car, and then the next day he took it to the MOT where it passed. And that's when the next problems introduced themselves. So when we first tested it, the alternator seemed fine, but nope. Turns out, looking at it later, it wasn't charging the battery. So I ordered one and had it delivered to David's place. And, bless him, his mate Keith volunteered to fit it for me. What a legend. At the same time, my fantastic sponsors at Taina sent me a fresh new battery, and miraculously, that also managed to wipe out all the warning lights. It was time to take it home, but it wasn't all smooth sailing. First issue, totally my fault. As soon as we left, I heard a concerning grinding noise from the front of the car. We stopped and I realised that I had put one of the rears onto this front left corner and then the front tyre on the back. So top tier mechanic skills right there. And once we got going, the misfire got worse and worse. It barely made it home. Even now, listen to how rough it's running. And the engine management light has now joined the party. Fantastic. Luckily, Think Car sent me a code reader a few months ago to test. So I've plugged in the wireless dongle. Let's see what it says. Okay, so we've got a misfire on all cylinders, because of course we do, and a P0330 code. Now that's actually good news. That refers specifically to the inlet cam sensor, and with all of them misfiring, that makes sense. I'll get one ordered, we'll fit it tomorrow, and fingers crossed that that sorts it out. So I've got a new sensor, and the old one is located just here. I think that's under a Vanos solenoid. Doesn't look too difficult to get to, so famous last words. So we'll get started, and first thing is to just unplug it under here. You need slender hands for this. And already I think I've spotted a problem. This was way too easy to unplug. They normally have a retainer spring. So the socket that the plug goes into is buried upside down under this air intake or whatever it is, and you can't see it from here, but I've gone in with my phone and it's really not good news. So that whole plug has actually been mullered quite badly. It's supposed to have a spring retaining clip, and you can see that the actual plastic is broken and that there is no clip there. Now I have in the meantime tried restarting the car, seating it in position properly, just in case that was the issue rather than the sensor, but it's still misfiring. So we're going to go ahead and replace it. And then to retain it, when I put it back in, if it's working, I'll use a blob of silicone. There's nothing else I can do. I don't think I can replace that socket very easily. So first of all, crack off the breather hose, which sits just above the solenoid, then take off the solenoid plug, and then use a 32mm spanner just to crank it open. You want to put some tissue paper underneath that solenoid, because there'll be some oil which will come out as I spin it off. The bolt on the sensor is a 5mm Allen key head, so I use that to take it out, and now I'm just prizing it out. But that little oil hose that goes to the solenoid is getting in the way. So I'm just going to crack it open just to give enough movement to get the sensor out. The old one comes out and the new one is threaded back in. Okay, all replaced, and let's see what it does. Well, that's still misfiring really, really badly, so not great. What are you doing? You getting ready to lay a big turd on it? Tell me what you think of it. So at the same time, when I was replacing this, I managed to break this ventilation hose. They do get brittle with time, so I thought it might happen. At the moment, I've just bodged it up just to seal it. It's definitely not this. I've tried running the OBD sensor through it again, the OBD reader, and it is still saying that there's a problem with that inlet cam sensor. Now, having seen that the plug, what it goes into, is so damaged, my thought is that that's the main problem. It's a wiring problem rather than with the actual sensor. So it's over here. There's some sort of junction box. I'm going to remove all this stuff, see if I can get to it and see what it looks like. So what do you think about E39s? Comfy. So I got the airbox out of the way, and it's not great news really, because I managed to get to that plug that the sensor plugs into, and to be honest, although it's very loose, which is what worried me in the first place, it's only the housing that's loose. What this plugs into in the electrical collectors actually look absolutely fine. I managed to get this cover off earlier. I didn't film it, but I managed to get that off and I could see that it was okay. So I'm really at a loss. So things aren't looking very hopeful, but luckily E39 owners seem to be super helpful. So Keith from the touring group on Facebook has really got us back into it to try and find somebody who can come in with a proper BMW reader. I think they're called IMPAs. That should give us a lot more information. So I've got Chaz, who has really kindly volunteered to come tonight. We'll get some codes off it and then get an idea of what to do. But this is a problem, because if it is to do with the loom or an ECU or whatever, I just don't have the time to solve it. So tonight is going to be critical. In the meantime, we'll just move it up a bit closer to the garage so that we've got access to power and lighting. Right, so this chap is Chaz, and he has volunteered to come over and help me out. He's got a system here called it's an impasse. It's a proper BMW readout to find out all the codes. So we'll see if we can get a little bit more information about what's actually going wrong. So this being an E39 of a certain vintage, it actually has two diagnostic ports. There's a round one here, which I think can give you a bit more information. Okay, so we're ready to go with the important bit on the engine. Let's see what it brings up.
I remember. And it's all in German. But
okay, so this is just confirming again, it's the intake cam sensor, which we knew. Okay, cool.
number 1, number 3, number 2, number 4, and number 6.
It's weird, number 5 never isn't misfiring. Why would that be? So DISA valves, apparently, DISA, they can cause these sorts of symptoms. So we're just giving that a check, because the results from the IMPA weren't particularly more revealing. Oh. Right, so Chaz is going to demonstrate how to check a DISA valve, and basically what we do is you turn it and then you plug up the little hole there, and if it stays closed or not completely, it doesn't snap right back, it means that it's working. So mind you, it does turn a bit. Doesn't stay completely closed, does it? But still, that would say it's functioning, really, wouldn't it?
It would.
Okay. Right, I'm going to put the diesel valve back in, and in the meantime, Chaz is just going to take the valve covers off, and we're going to swap around some of the coils and see if the misfire moves. If it does, it means that almost all the coils are bad, though. Okay, so we got there's the coils. They're not the original coils, and what we're going to do, since cylinder 5 appears to be the only one that isn't misfiring, we're going to swap that out with another one that's definitely misfiring, and we'll see if that makes any difference. Number 1 goes in 5, and then 5 goes in 1. Okay, so the cam sensor has come back straight away, but although it's misfiring like a pig, it's now not showing on the error code, so we can't check to see if swapping around the coils has done anything or not, which is like massively frustrating, basically. But yeah, I don't know what else we can do. I've driven it like a few feet as well, and it's not coming on, and the engine light isn't coming on either. I think it's because we cleared the codes with this sort of powerful BMW thing, and it's refusing to sort of look at that side of it for some weird reason, but the cam sensor code has come back up, so. So it's last chance saloon for the BMW. I have here a genuine BMW cam sensor that we know is working, because a few people said, oh, it's not genuine aftermarket Febby Bilstein. I can't believe they would be so bad from new, but anyway, just to make sure that it's not still that cam sensor, that's what the error keeps saying, we'll replace this. But if this doesn't work, then the car's going to be up for grabs to anybody who's got a bit more patience and, importantly, a bit more time than me. Let's see what happens. Okay, all done. Shall we take bets? I'm thinking it's not going to make the slightest difference. Let's see. All right, well, I'm not exactly shocked, but that's the end of the line for me. I haven't got the time to devote to this. This means probably it's either the loom or the ECU. The loom, that plug that it goes into, I'm still wondering about that, because it's obviously been mullered, but I don't know. Unfortunately, I have to give up on it now. So that means that someone can have it off me. I'm going to lose a load of money, but someone can have it off me for a bargain price. So if you're interested, send me an email here. And come and take it off my hands. I know I'm going to make a big loss, but I just got to cut my losses at this stage. And obviously there's the issue of the wheels and tyres. I paid 600 quid just for those, so I'm probably going to take them off and sell them separately to try and cover a little bit of the cash that I'm going to lose on this. But anyway, what a complete failure of an experience with the E39. Thank you all so much for watching. Look forward to seeing you for the next video.